So the government may shut down because they can't pass a budget. Um, Unbelievable. But to me, it goes to show it's kind of like running your own the politics they play. It's like running your own budget. If one of your family members says, "Hey, you cannot pay for your mortgage unless we go on this vacation." So in order to pay for the mortgage, we have to overspend and pay for the vacation. And you're thinking, "Wait a second, that's not how budgets work." And it's like, yeah, no, it's how it works in Washington. Unbelievable politics. May shut down pay to the troops, all that stuff. Um, which is a sign of, and what I ask people is, you know, when does this become a problem? Because a lot of people see the budget issues and they go, "Oh, well, we've been overspending for years, so it's obviously everything keeps working. Yes, there's problems, but everything keeps working, so it'll continue to work." And I always tell people, would you work? Would you be in the military if you weren't getting paid? Everyone says no. So if they weren't getting paid, and what would cause them not to be paid? Well, if you have to decide, if you actually have to balance a budget, then that means you have to say no to something. No to Social Security, no to Medicare, no to WIC, no to military spending, no to something to balance the budget. And that's what these hardline Republicans are asking Washington to do, which I think is a valiant effort. A little late. It's too late, in my opinion, because the budget, one of the biggest line items of the budget now is interest on our debt. So that's not really something you can pencil out, and it's going to continue to rise because the debt's going to continue to rise and the interest rate's going to continue to rise. But I want to take a look at this story and talk through it. I think the deadline's Friday. So if they don't come to a resolution by Friday, of course, they have made appropriations for Ukraine. It's just, you got to laugh sometimes because you're like, it's so bold. It really is so bold. But they play politics with troops pay, which I think is utterly ridiculous. If you're one of those people that are like, well, these people want to cut pay for troops, what they're trying to get to in Washington is, instead of a giant packaged budget, which is spend 7 trillion or nothing, they itemize what they're spending money on. And what they're trying to do is itemize troop pay right now. So if there is a government shutdown, hey, we've at least agreed on we could pay the troops. But that's the politics that's being played. No, you can't pay the troops until we get our vacation. And my question for you guys is, do you think this will end? It's not unique to this time. It's that the money is broken so bad that they've been able to play these politics because they have a money printer and they don't have to tax people to get this money. Because every voter would actually have an opinion on it if their W-2 is debited for interest rate costs. But it's the boiling frog syndrome. It's the inflation. Let's watch this news.
In the nation's capital today, it's the start of a week that could end in a government shutdown. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy insisting a deal to fund the government is still possible and sending a pointed message to the hard-right members of his own party standing in the way.
If people want to close the government, it only makes it weaker. Why would they want to stop paying the troops or stop paying the border agents or the Coast Guard?
That's the pretend option that you have. You have the only one option. You fund all of the government, or you don't fund them and you hate the troops and you hate grandma and you hate all this kind of stuff.
Hardline conservative Republicans not backing down on their demands for steep spending cuts.
Folks like me, we're sticking to our guns, and all of a sudden we're the bad guys because we want to balance our budget.
Speaker McCarthy today signaling potential progress with some of the holdouts.
Apparently they're willing to work now, so we could have an opportunity.
As they race to reach a short-term funding deal before the deadline, when federal workers could be furloughed or their paychecks held up, including members of the military.
You're talking about people not being able to come into work at a time when, again, we're facing rising threats all around the world. We really need our full military at their 100%.
The Biden administration making contingency plans to protect essential functions and warning of a shutdown's wide-ranging ripple effects.
The risk of vital nutrition assistance for nearly 7 million mothers and young children who count on WIC.
Americans counting on the
7 million people rely on the government for women, infant, children program. That's crazy. And I'm not saying it's that we have an economy that is so bad that people in the lower rungs have to rely on women, infant, children, and to get money from the government to feed their kids. 7 million. Insane.
their leaders to keep a potential shutdown from damaging the economy, while so many are struggling to balance their own family budgets. In
That's just like twisting the knife at the end. Hey, do you have a family? Balance their own family budgets. I just see this as kind of a signpost down the. There are people waking up in Washington because I do feel like they realize the pain of continuing to go down the path. And there's some people that don't care, but continuing to go down the path will eventually crush the dollar. And as the Fed's trying to raise interest rates, you got fiscal over here, meaning the Treasury and politicians just spending willy-nilly as the third line item, I believe now, after Medicare and Medicaid, is interest. Interest is above the military, the most powerful military in the world. We're spending more money on our interest on our debt. Extend and pretend, which eventually causes more pain for the voters. The question is, do people wake up? Do people realize that they're voting for their own demise? That immediate short-term fix. Oh, no, you can't cut WIC. You can't cut Social Security. You can't cut military spending. You can't cut anything. They're voting for their own demise. It's sick to see people play politics with people's paychecks because that's not how it has to go. But you want to defend the country, then you got to fund our vacation. That's just how I think about it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. See y'all in the next one. Peace.